It's time for Dodger baseball.
What's going on, Dodgers Nation? D-Mac here. Welcome to the Dodgers Nation post-game show after the Dodgers beat the Mets by a final score of 5-0. The Dodgers get the big win. It was a masterful, a virtuoso, a tour de force, a vintage Kersh performance tonight, and King Kersh gets his 200th win. Sorry we had some audio difficulties, but we are back and we are ready to roll. And we have a lot to talk about for this game because Kershaw, he was outstanding. He shoved 7 innings of work, allowed just 3 hits, had to retire 10 straight at one point, 9 punch-outs, no walks, 105 pitches, 81 for strikes. He lowers his ERA for the season down to 2.52, 19 for 25 on first pitch strikes, and congratulations to King Kersh, who gets his 200th dub of his career. And we have a lot to get into. We talk about Clayton Kershaw, his fantastic night. We're talking about the bullpen because Brusdar Graterol, he looks like he's turned a corner. We're going to talk about this offense, and we're going to talk about our player of the game, JD Martinez, his best game as a Dodger. He goes 4 for 5, 4 RBIs, 2 bombs. I was thinking, hey, are we going to get a 4 home run game from JD Martinez? But in this case, it would be in a Dodger uniform. But the offense, there was some things that we could spot that we did not like tonight, though. I'm going to tell you what I didn't like. The 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position, 10 men left on base. The bottom of the order, they definitely struggled. Vargas, Peralta, Rojas, Williams, Barnes, they combine to go 0 for 13. We're going to break it all down inning for inning, get all your hot takes. But first, let me know where you represent Dodgers Nation from tonight. Give me those cities down below. But thanks for rocking with us, guys. We have Verdell, Newsom, Kershaw, and the team bounce back nicely. Yeah, Verdell, I mean, this is one of those games where Clayton Kershaw, who's always pitched well against the New York Mets, and on the anniversary with Vince Scully, you're giving a Vince Scully jersey out, and Clayton Kershaw, he was outstanding. I mean, if it wasn't for the triple error by Jason Hayward, I mean, we could talk about an even more spectacular night because, look, I mean, I like the fact that Clayton Kershaw said, hey, bullpen, don't worry, I got this. 7 innings from King Kersh. Dave Roberts didn't go out there on the mound. And, look, I mean, one stat that really stands out to me, 33 foul balls tonight for Clayton Kershaw. Had some deep at-bats, was working deep in the counts, but the big key for him, getting ahead in the count. The key for him also just pounding the zone, filling the zone with strikes, had the feel for that slider, working at the bottom of the zone, also had the feel for that curveball, which was a big money pitch for him, especially early in the game when he was getting himself out of that jam. So, yeah, what more can you say about Clayton Kershaw other than the fact that he's one of the greatest pitchers to ever do it, and tonight he shined once again on a big stage in a game that the Dodgers needed. They now improved back to 500, 9-9. They're 2 games back of the Arizona Diamondbacks. That pesky D-back team is first place in the NL West. The Padres, they're a hot mess, a dumpster fire at the moment. You got sub-200 hitting Juan Soto, who they gave up half of their farm system. They also gave up Legoland, SeaWorld, the Channel 4 news team, everything to get him, and he hasn't produced as of yet like they had hoped this season. But let's hit these comments, guys. Thanks for rocking with us. As always, I'm looking for my player of the game. We're going to start with the player of the game. Who is your player of the game? Because for me, of course, I have my Dodgers dog of the night, the Dodger that showed the most dog, and to me, I think that
Dodger dog of the game
is probably going to go to Clayton Kershaw, that dog, that fire that he showed in this one. But let's go jump in this comment section. We got John Porter. JD's night will get understated because of Clayton, but we congrats them both. Yeah, I mean, John Porter, you hit the nail right on the head. It was a big night for JD Martinez, and JD is a guy that he has been struggling with the strikeouts, and tonight it was a different story. I mean, his at-bat quality was fantastic. You saw the one that he hit a home run on earlier in this one. That was on the 10th pitch of the at-bat. And, yeah, it was fantastic. His 19th multi-home run game. First as a Dodger. and second home run on the Dodgers. So second most in his extra base hits, right up there among the league leaders. What do you guys think of JD Martinez? Is this a guy that we can trust in the media lineup to produce? Because tonight, this was the JD Martinez that the Dodgers were hoping to get. A guy that's going to match, the guy that has the slug. When they made that signing, and a lot of Dodger fans were upset that meant the end of Justin Turner in LA, what I tell you, I said that JT was probably going to hit more singles, was going to have a little better bat to ball, possibly a higher batting average, but what JD Martinez brings is what the Dodgers need, and that is a guy that has always crushed lefties throughout his career. It's a guy who has an 897 postseason OPS. That's what you need. A 987 postseason OPS. That's what you need. And then also a guy that's going to mash and go gap to gap, hit for some power, and this team definitely benefits from his slug. But we're going to break it all down, but give me your initial thoughts because I saw some things later in the game that I like too. How about adding that big insurance round? We're going to talk about Kershaw. We're going to talk about JD Martinez in this offense. We're going to talk about Mookie. I dropped a video about my thoughts on Mookie and playing shortstop. I dropped it actually during the game, so go back and watch that one because when I was at the game last weekend covering Jackie Robinson Day, I noticed that Mookie, he was taking extensive work, doing extensive work at shortstop, taking ground balls, him and Miguel Vargas, and you could kind of sniff something. Yes, Dave Roberts said today that he is the third string shortstop, but it's a very intriguing idea to say the least, the idea of Mookie Betts at shortstop. But we're going to touch on that because I want all your guys' thoughts on Mookie playing shortstop in just a second. But here we go. We got Mr. Iggy Force saying Dave Vassay reported earlier that Mookie will be playing shortstop tomorrow. Yeah, go check my video. Shout out to Vassay. Talked to him a few times about this post-game show world. And, yeah, DV. We got Kevin. What up, D-Mac? I told you he's going to get a 4th Cy Young. Kevin Uhas, I mean, hey, if he could pitch like this for the entire season and avoid those IL stints, who you never know. Because the reality, what I've always said with Clayton Kershaw is that he still has it. He has absolutely reinvented himself as a pitcher. He's not the same guy that was throwing 95 and 96. He's throwing more slider than fastballs these days. But when you have 2+ breaking pitches like he has, when you have pristine command like he has, when you have that fire, that tenacity, that championship, that Hall of Fame grit that Clayton Kershaw pitches with, then you're going to end up on top most days. Like I always say, Clayton Kershaw is a happily married man, but he has himself a slide piece, and that slider is one of the best pitches in the game. When you look at the tunneling, the release of that 4-seam and that slider, it looks like a fastball and just falls off the table and it fools hitters all game long. But we go. San Diego took another run in the last 3 games. That's from Justin Lamas. What up, Justin, over on YouTube? We got Jose on YouTube. D-Mac always coming in clutch. Shout out, big homie from Austin. What up, Jose? Appreciate you. Hey, you're from Austin. Hey, pretty much, if you want to be a Dodgers catcher these days, you got to be named Austin. We got Rochester, New York from David Sabatini. We got Mondo J. JD's bat. It's alive. It's alive. Oh, yeah. I'm looking for my comment of the night. If I see a comment of the night, you're going to see one of these, and that will be my first one of the night because I like that one.
You win.
If you bring a fire take, anything hot, anything maybe a little controversial, anything just a heaty take, you're going to see one of these.
Fire take.
If you say something a little sus, you're going to see one of these.
Bruh.
But let's get right back into it. Diane Schroeder represent from Indian Wells. Fran Lang from Pensacola, Florida. We got Justin Lamas. Scherzer, my old friend, coming back tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to talk about Max Scherzer and his start tomorrow. Speaking of it being it's alive, his arm came back to life to sign that $130 million contract with the Mets after making a business decision when he was on the Dodgers to not pitch in Game 6 of the NLCS back in 2021. But, hey, let's just be honest. It was electric when Mad Max was pitching for the Dodgers. That team chasing the Giants. How about him going against the Astros with all the boos? How about his immaculate inning? How about him reaching a 3,000 strikeout milestone in Dodger Blue? How about him getting the big save in the clincher in Game 5 of the NLDS? So, yeah, there's still some pretty fond memories. And, look, it was a nice little fling that the Dodgers had with Mad Max. And, look, at the end of the day, it's just fun to watch him pitch. And he's a guy that he went out there and he got that big bag. And I'll tell you this much, the Mets were bidding against themselves. The Dodgers offered him a 2-year deal, around $75 to $80 million. The Dodgers were willing to do that. There were no teams out there that were getting close to 3 years, 130 for Scherzer, but we know Stephen Cohen, money is no object. He spends money like a drunken sailor. But hey, I think it's good for the game, to be honest with you. We got Verdell Newsome. We got does anybody know if the Dodgers lead MLB in players with multi-home run games? That's a good question. I mean, you got Freddie yesterday with the 2. You had Max Muncy with 2 multi-home run games. Tonight you have JD Martinez with 2 home runs tonight. So I would probably, if I had to bet without knowing, you guys know I bring my facts to the fight, so I'll definitely have to verify that. But I think there's a pretty solid chance because this team, whether you like it or not, they are feast or famine at times. They are boom or bust at times. Yesterday, they get multi-home runs, and they still weren't able to win the game because the pitching didn't hold on to its end of the bargain. But this team as a whole, offensively, they've been pretty home run reliant when it comes to their wins. But hey, the numbers don't lie. 32 bombs on the year for the Dodgers. That's second in all of Major League Baseball, tops in the National League. They only trail the Tampa Bay Rays, who have 41 dingers on the year. But let's get back into the comments, guys. Thanks for rocking with us. Sorry for the little late start, had an audio difficulty, but we have righted the ship just like Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers did tonight to get back to 500. Diane Schroeder, Kersh was fired up. Yeah, he was. I just thought that at bat there late, the last thing Clayton Kershaw wanted to do was exit that game early. And he wanted to come out, and he's always a guy that's going to go down swinging, but I thought it was really big. 3-2 pitch to Pham. He struck him out there to end the 7th, a swinging strike on a slider bottom of the zone. And yeah, the thing about Kersh is he was fantastic tonight, but there were certain at-bats, like I mentioned, 33 foul balls on the night for Clayton Kershaw. He ends up throwing 105 pitches. He went into that 7th inning with 73 pitches, so he throws 32 pitches there to close things out in the 7th. And the way this bullpen has been up and down, it's been a roller coaster ride. It's not the California adventure anymore, but still, there's been some off nights for this bullpen. I like the fact that he goes deep into this game, gives you that length, and you're only asking for the 8th and the 9th for the Dodgers. And we're going to talk about Brusdar Graterol as well. We're going to focus on Kersh, who also added to his strikeout legacy, 9 punchies for Kersh tonight. He's now at 2,833 strikeouts for his career. That is 22nd all time. So 22 for 22. You got to love that. Jim Bunning is next up on the list. He passed Lolich, but Jim Bunning, next up on that list, Kersh is coming for you. So, yeah, it's great to see. And Bunning has 2,855. So, a little ways away, but he's going to pass him this year. But, yeah, Kershaw's first win, by the way, in case you are wondering, was on July 27, 2008, in a Dodgers 2-0 win over the Nationals. He pitched 6 shutty, allowed 4 hits, struck out 5, and now you're talking about a guy with 200 wins. And of all the pitchers that have 200 wins in their career, he has the best winning percentage. So quite a feat for Mr. Clayton Edward Kershaw to accomplish that. So, yeah, I'm just happy for the guy. It's great to see him go out there and a 694 win percentage for Clayton Kershaw. I'm not the biggest wins and loss guy, and I don't want to explain why that. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory because, one, when you evaluate a pitcher, it has a lot to do with, 1, your run support, 2, some factors that you don't have the control of, and also when wins and losses were first created by the old statistician, Mr. Henry Chadwick, go look it up back in the day. He came up with the stat, and one of the differences back then was the pitcher had to pitch the entire game, and if he came out of the game at any point, he would actually have to change position. So if you want a pitcher to come out of the game way back in the 1800s, you had to go to left field or right field or center field. But I digress. I'm not going to dive too deep into that because there definitely was lots to like tonight, but there's also some things we can point to that not so much. Like I said, 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position. We're going to talk about Luke Williams night. Congratulations to him getting his opportunity. We're going to talk about James Outman hitting leadoff. And next, we're going to step into the box and look at this box score before we break things down. But let's jump back into that comment section here. That joke was too funny from Dodgers_Chloe. Kevin Uhas, his 12-6 curve was filthy tonight. Yeah, Kevin Uhas. I mean, There's a couple things to note when you see him throwing that curveball like he did tonight. And when he's doing that, you're seeing him get that leg out in front, move that hip, and just work downhill. And that's how you know, one, has the feel for his breaking stuff, and then two, he's healthy. And that is the most important thing for Clayton Kershaw, is that he is healthy. And you saw right early in the game, Brandon Nimmo reached on an error by Hayward, and that's a error all the way to third base. So you got a runner on third to start the game, and you're thinking, okay, this could be rocky. They could open the floodgates early on Kersh. He had a rocky outing against the Diamondbacks, but no, 0-2 pitch. He strikes out Marte with a curveball, just like you said. Next batter, Lindor, 0-2 count. He punches him out with that curveball on the inside corner for the second out. And then 0-2 to Alonso with Nomo at third. He strikes him out to end the inning. A perfectly located four-seam fastball away. 0-2, he goes fastball, and then curveball, then slider, slows him down, speeds him up, and this is a virtuoso moment. If I'm a pitcher out there, I'm studying Clayton Kershaw on the mound, because he's a pitcher. He's not a thrower. And he's a guy that, like Sandy Koufax used to say, you want to throw through the glove, not to the glove. He's a guy that can do it all. I mean, he's had success in his career early where he had velocity with the slider, with the curveball. Now you're seeing a guy that has pristine command, and he locates, and he knows how to keep hitters off balance with those pitches. So 20 pitches in that first inning for Kersh, 18 for strikes. So he strikes out the side after that 3-base error by Jason Hayward. Hayward's going to owe Kersh a little steak dinner, but I thought it was fantastic to just set the tone there and say, look, this Dodger team, we're not going to spiral, okay? We're going to get back to 500, and we're going to build some momentum. But you know how they always say momentum is only good as the next game starter? Well, tonight, Kershaw said, I'm him. I'm going to be that guy. I'm Goat Shaw. But Kershaw was fired tonight. It's from Pound for Pound over on YouTube. That's a fire take. Even a fire emoji, you might just get the fire take sound, okay? SD missing Fernando, Justin Lamas. Yeah, he's making his way back. I've seen some of his highlights. Mr. Ringworm, Mr. Fernando Tatis. Okay, you can't spell the Padres without P-E-D. No, I'm just messing. I want to see him back. I think he's an exciting player. I'm not hating. We got Diane Schroeder. JD has been working for this, and he found it. That's from Diane Schroeder. Yeah, I mean, you have to mention, for my player of the game, I'm going to give Clayton Kershaw. You guys tell me, who's your Dodger dog of the game?
Dodger dog of the game.
I'm going Clayton Kershaw as my Dodger dog of the game. The way he was able to dig deep early on in that first inning, the way he was able to just continue to grind all night long, still had the feel for his stuff, but also had some deep counts. I mean, actually didn't have his first 3-ball count till later, but lots of foul balls against him. But he's my Dodger dog of the night. My player of the game, I'm going Mr. J.D. Martinez, 4 for 5, 2 bombs, 4 RBIs, had 1 strikeout. Even that strikeout, he had a pitch outside of the zone that looked like a ball. So he's seeing it much better. He's getting his timing. You're seeing his swing looks as good as that's looked for the Dodgers, and he's really put some good swings on balls tonight. And he's a guy that he is always working. I mean, JD Martinez, he says it himself that he does not have a natural swing. He wasn't born with a natural swing. He's always working towards just kind of mastering his approach. He talked about it during spring training. He had some bad habits when he had the foot injury and he was compensating, and he had a little pump and dump action right there. Now you're seeing a little cleaner bat to ball, more like the classic JD Martinez that we've seen, where he can get to balls, he can mash, but also he can hit for power. So, yeah, definitely what this Dodgers team needs. James Outman is developing into a great piece for this team. That's from IC. Yeah, let's jump into the box real quick and kind of break down this box score, and we'll talk about James Outman, because I think James Outman, a big opportunity for him today. I mean, a couple things about James Outman is some people might not realize this because you see him down the order. He almost appears like a slugger because he's beefy, he's muscular. He's one of the fastest guys in the league. He's currently ranked 25th in sprint speed. He's in the 92nd percentile. Also on base percentage is second behind Freddie Freeman. So it did make a lot of sense for him to be the leadoff hitter in Mookie Betts' absence. And I think, yeah, he showed out tonight. I mean, he had some strikeouts early in this one. He struck out there in the bottom of the first inning. He struck out on a 4-seam fastball looking. But later in the game, if you look at just the end of that game when they added the insurance run, he was able to bang that base hit there into center field to get that much-needed insurance run there in the 8th. He cranked that base hit to center after Austin Barnes drew a walk and stole second. By the way, amen. I almost passed out. I almost thought it was an AI CGI'd version of the Dodgers game to see the Dodgers in the 8th inning add a much-needed insurance run by drawing a walk, stealing a base. James Outman goes up there, cranks a base hit to center, wasn't trying to murder the baseball, was just trying to put the ball in play, hit a line drive. And then you got Austin Barnes, he's at third base, runners on the corners. And then Freddie Freeman, he's able to bring Barnes home on that sacrifice fly to make it 5-0 Dodgers. So, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you want to see at times. You want to have different clubs in your bag, so to speak, and the Dodgers showed during that inning that they are capable of manufacturing runs in a different way. I'm not saying to go full-on 60s Dodgers with Maury Wills and Sandy Koufax on the mound, get them on, get them over, and get them in. No, you want to play for the slug. All the numbers indicate, yes, you outslug your opponent, you're going to win over 80% of the time, but still to have a different dynamic, to be able to go to a different approach when you're struggling, when you're going through a drought. I think that's something that this team needs to continue to develop and emphasize throughout the course of this season. But let's jump back in the comment section, guys. Give you my big takeaways. Who's your Dodger dog of the night? Who's your player of the game? Any hot takes I'm looking for? I'm looking for the comment of the nights, guys. Doug, I like slugging. LA are second in the majors in home runs. I know Justin Lamas. What up, man? Trace Hayward season. How you doing, my man? What up, D-Mac? Great win today. A great win for the Dodgers. I mean, Clayton, Kershaw, big night, offense. You're seeing the slug. JD Martinez, I think, in the absence of Will Smith, and right now, Will Smith, they retroactively placed him on that concussion IL. The earliest he could return was Thursday. Well, it's looking like he's not quite there yet. He's still working his way back. He still has to check off some boxes as far as some testing. So it could be some time. And with him out, you're going to need to see JD Martinez. You're going to need to see Freddie Freeman continue to do what he's doing. So definitely some encouraging developments from the meat of the Dodgers lineup in the first two games of the series. Freddie yesterday, and even Freddie today jumping into that box score. You saw the sacrifice fly late in the game. You saw him get on base and hit that single early that kind of got the offense going there, which was big. At the bottom of the first inning, James Outman struck out on that four-seam fastball away, but Freddie Freeman, first pitch single to left, and then right after that, JD Martinez, two-run shot to center, 438-foot bomb, put the Dodgers up 2-0, good guys up early. And how about that at-bat from JD Martinez? The 10th pitch of that at-bat, he fouled off four straight four-seam fastballs, and then he got a slider on the 10th pitch, middle, and he did not miss it. Just dingers, hits a dong, second bomb of the year. And then after that, 3-2 pitch Max Muncy. He takes ball four low for a one-out walk, and then Hayward flies to right for the second out. Then Vargas struck out looking for the third out. Vargas, defensively, I love the play he made late in this game. He gives my defensive gem of the night, my web gems. Shout out to ESPN back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Miguel Vargas leaping that catch, that double play, caught it and went right to first to double of Alvarez. That ball was hit hard. Great timing by Miggy Varg. And after we've seen him make some good plays and also look a little green at second, nice to see those instincts there. That's the most important thing. So I think defensively, he definitely made a nice play there and gets my defensive player of the night. But offensively, he continues to struggle. 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Had some opportunities in this one. His batting average now down to 186. What are your thoughts on Miguel Vargas? Now, let's jump back in the comments section, guys. Thor better bring his bag of tricks tomorrow. That's from Diane Schroeder. We got Justin Lamas. I like our slugging this year. Oh, there you go. D-Mac, what up, Dodgers Nation? D-Mac, Dodgers, Chloe. Hey, great win from around tonight. We needed something like this. Carrot from David over on YouTube. Careless Whisper, congrats to Kershaw. Everyone drop me a congrats, Kers, a goat emoji for Mr. Clayton Edward Kershaw getting his 200th win of his career. A whole lot of Ks for the goat, 9 punchies. We got Dylan Hare. This was a closer to a complete game, pitching and offense. Still left some risk, but a step in the right direction, like seeing Gradwell striking out 3 batters. But yeah, we got Keegan Gone says, anyone notice how we never see D-Mac and Will Smith in the same place? Are you sure about that, King Gons? Because I've interviewed him. I interviewed during spring training. We posted that on our social media. Maybe I'll lead the show with that next time so you could see that I'm actually not Will Smith. But if I was, it'd be cool to be the greatest catcher in baseball right now, the greatest all-around catcher. Smitty, get well soon, my man. Eddie, go Dodgers. IB Strokin. Chris, what up, IB Strokin? Craig Osterberg. When the top of the line hits, Dodgers win. Craig Osterberg. And that is true, but also is a concern. You want a longer lineup. You want more depth to this lineup. And with Mookie out, Will Smith out, yeah, guys are going to have to step up. But yeah, that was the issue for this team last year. You had the head of the snake, the tip of the spear in Trey Turner, in Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, and Freddie Freeman. But other than that, a lot of guys have up and down years. I mean, Will Smith was absolutely consistent, but I think for this team to have sustained success in the postseason, you're going to need contributions from guys down in that order. I think it has the potential with James Outman, I think, being an upgrade at the plate to Cody Bellinger at some point. I mean, Bellinger has kind of figured things out, so I'm happy for him. We'll see how both of those seasons turn out, but I think you look at Outman's swing. It's a shorter, more compact swing. Pitchers are going to adjust to him. They're going to find his problem areas, and we're going to see how he deals with his first big slump, and that's inevitable. But still, I do like my chances with James Outman. Then, of course, you have a bounce-back Max Muncy. A Max Muncy who is right at the top of the league when it comes to home runs. And he's going to have a bounce back here. I mean, Max Muncy, 7 bombs. That's tied for second in the league. Is behind he's tied with Devers for second behind Patrick Wisdom, who, of course, he's gone on the tear lately. Hit, I think, 3 home runs against the Dodgers. And then Pete Alonso, the polar bear, who leads the league with 8. So, yeah, I mean, you love what you've seen from Max Muncy. And tonight, I think Max Muncy, was great to see him draw those walks. I mean, 3 big walks for Max Muncy. We know he's Max Muncy, as in S-E-E, because of his eye there. So, great to see him there. Avocado says, Captain Kershaw, blue heart emoji. Mr. Iggy 4. Miggy Vargas is still dealing with that thumb injury. Yeah, I mean, once he gets cleared to go full swing, he'll be a game changer. I know he will make big contributions to this team. Yeah, Mr. Iggy 4. The thing about this team is, he is going to absolutely get a runway. He is absolutely going to get a big opportunity for this team. And I agree with you. I think Miguel Vargas is going to find his swing, find his stroke, and get hot. I mean, you saw him hit that extra base hit over the weekend that led to the walk-off by David Peralta. You saw him start to get singles. And look, at the end of the day, he is still taking his walks. And when a guy is able to see the strike zone like that, you feel good about that. I mean, currently what if I told you almost 3 weeks into the season, Miguel Vargas was tied for 5th with 14 walks. You'd feel good about that, but you definitely want to see him up that slug, get some more extra base hits, because at the moment, 2 doubles in 43 at-bats, 1 triple, and he has yet to go yard. So, yeah, I think you'll see him pick it up. And remember, James Outman, a little more mature, right? 25 years old. Miggy Vargas, 23 years old. So he's going to need some time. Outman is so good from Trace. We got this team is missing someone like Hanser from Rob Marvin. We got Goat Kirsch from Daniel Macy. Great win, Fire Roberts. Here's the first Fire Roberts. Now this team is missing Kike. That's from Brady Horton over there. Do you think Dave Roberts is going to get us this chip this year? Isaac Garcia. I think if you think that Dave Roberts is the difference in this team winning a championship, I don't know. I think every decision that's made in this organization is very calculated, very thought out. You have a collaborative effort with Andrew Friedman, the analytics department, the scouting department. A lot of these guys are involved in these decisions. Now, will Dave Roberts do a good job in unifying these guys and galvanizing and motivating them? That's a different story, and we'll see. I mean, just look at last year. I mean, was that Tyler Anderson, his decision? We'll never know if we're being completely honest, but I think Dave Roberts is a guy that, look, I don't think he's going to lose this World Series. I think at the end of the day, this team's success or failure is going to come down to what pieces they add, how aggressive they're going to be in trying to bolster this bullpen, trying to add to this lineup. I mean, if Mookie Betts goes to shortstop and let's say he plays there for a sustained amount of time, because you never know. I mean, Chris Taylor has an oblique injury. He's going to avoid that IL stint, but still, he's a guy that's been banged up. He's also a guy that, like I said at the top of the show, 5 hits, 4 home runs. Very true outcome. A lot of strikeouts, and he's hit some home runs. Miguel Rojas, who his defense is definitely really, really good, but offensively, it's tough to expect him to be anything less than a below-average hitter. So if they like their outfield depth and they get contributions from Peralta and Hayward and Trayce Thompson, I mean, maybe you kind of go with that depth in the outfield and see if you play Mookie Betts. I mean, a lot of guys say you always want to play your best 8 or 9 players, and offensively, if this team's struggling to score runs, maybe it is something they consider. I mean, I just find it hard to believe they're going to go with him full-time, but still, if they do, it would be something very exciting. I mean, Mookie Betts is a guy that he's athletic. He can make the throws. He has a rocking arm, but we'll see. JD Martinez as your player of the game. Craig Osterberg. Diane says her player of the game is Clayton Kershaw. We got Kershaw is Zaddy. That's from Christian Ray. That's a comment of the night. David Sabatini. Great win for morale tonight. We needed something like this. I agree with you. Looking good tonight. What up, Boomer Assassin? The team was looking good. I think they were good. I think it was another example for the millionth time in his career that Mr. Clayton Edward Kershaw put this team on his back and led this team to victory. And I think that game really was won there early in the first inning. Able to get himself out of that jam. Jason Hayward, who a multi-time Gold Glove Award winner, I think a 5-time Gold Glove Award winner. He goes out there, has the error, and look, things happen, but still, Clayton Kershaw, 20 pitches, 18 for strikes out the side. That absolutely set the tone for the evening. Now, the Dodgers did miss some opportunities. We're going to keep breaking it down. I'll give my takeaways, but let's get back into the mix. We got I Got Gems. Miguel Rojas is free, I don't know, hashtag win for Vin. Yeah, throw a win for Vin out there. Andrew Phillips over on Facebook. Roger Kennard, what up, Roger? Great game by Tony Crenshaw and JD Martinez. I now believe 90-92 wins might take the NL Western Division. Let's go Dodgers 2023. Roger, the Los Angeles Dodger. I like that. I mean, I picked 97. I was a little brazen, a little bullish on my prediction, but this team's weakness clearly is the bullpen. But we haven't even talked about Brusdar Graterol yet, which we will get to. We got Trace, D-Mac, Miguel Rojas left the game due to a hamstring issue. He has been injured a lot to start the year. DKM, D-Mac, what up? D-Mac, what up, DKM? Dodgers, Chloe. D-Mac thought it was a chat GPT controlling the game. That's a fire take. But yeah, Trace, getting back to your question, you watch the show regularly, and you know that is one thing that I mentioned is the fact that if you're 34 years old, playing that shortstop position, a very physically demanding position, and Miguel Rojas, this is not the role that they intended for him. They didn't trade for him to be the everyday shortstop, to be the guy that was going to get 80% of the reps at that position. They traded for him to be a better version of Hanser Alberto, and not even offensively, more defensively, and he's been thrusted into this role, and he's already dealt with a groin injury. He's already dealt with a hamstring injury. He dealt with some cramps. I think it's pretty hard to believe that they're going to get a full season from him if they wear him down. We're only in mid-April, and he's been banged up as much as he has. I mean, he dealt with cramps and a leg injury and little knick-knack stuff during spring training. Now, it's something to consider. Now, Mookie Betts, full-time shortstop, I mean, that is something that I think would really shock the baseball world to an extent. But Mookie, he's a natural. I mean, he actually came up as a shortstop in low A, but he was a little more natural at second. So he actually went from short to second to right field. And in right field, he turned into a 6-time Gold Glove Award winner. So I think he has the range. I think he has the athleticism. But I think one of the cons would possibly be it is physically demanding. You do have to be extremely locked in. I mean, it's one of the most important positions on the field. I'd argue that it is the most important position defensively, especially in this day and age where you have the restriction on the shift. You have to be a little more rangy. You have to cover more territory. You can't just utilize the shift like they did for so many years with Corey Seager and put guys in spots where they can get to ground balls. And also, yeah, you're running to base runners. I mean, thankfully you have the bigger bases, the pizza box bases. Hopefully that reduces the risk of that to a degree, but still it's something to consider. I mean, if you move him to shortstop and he struggles offensively, I mean, would that take its toll? I think Mookie Betts is the guy, though. I always say, Mookie, I'd rather see him hit 300 than bowl 300, but still, bowling is his passion. I've talked to Mookie about this. Bowling is his passion. Baseball is his passion, but also he loves a challenge. And anytime that he pours his heart into something, he gives it 110%. And I think a guy that likes to stay engaged and stay stimulated, and we know that playing second base does that for him. Well, if you play third base or if you play shortstop, that's going to take that to a whole nother level. He'd be the talk of Major League Baseball if he's out there making big highlight plays as a shortstop. So we got some GOAT emojis from Brady over on YouTube, Michael over on YouTube, Daniel over on YouTube. What up, Daniel? We got Miggy. His name is Miguel. EB. Teammates call him Miggy. Boomer, not happy with MVARG. We got Dude was heralded as a great batter. Did he live his at-bat? I think there's a couple of factors here. I think Miguel Vargas clearly sees the ball well. You see that with his walk total, but also he's young. He's 23 years old. He's still adjusting to big league pitching. Sometimes you're seeing, I think the thing with Miguel Vargas that I look at too is, look, I mean, he's a guy that has not, last year, even when he came up and he didn't light the world on fire, if you looked at his exit velocity numbers, they were still impressive. I mean, he was hitting that like over a 92 mile per hour clip. He was still scorching the baseball, but had a low BABIP. And also, you look at defensively, outs above average, it's the right place. Chase rate's the right place, but average exit velocity was in the 43rd percentile this year. But if you look at his expected batting average, it's at 76, the 76th percentile. Expected slug in the 66th percentile. So he's hitting 200 against fastballs this year. 240 against fastballs, 200 against breaking balls. So you're going to see him start to adjust, and the numbers indicate that he is due for some positive regression to the mean. So let's get a longer sample size for Miguel Vargas. And like I said, there are some positives. He has made some highlight plays at second base. We pointed out the one earlier tonight in today's game. He was the guy that was the catalyst for the walk-off win on Saturday. He gets that big double. He also showed that speed in sliding into home to get that win. So that big slide at home, great send by Dino Ebel. So he has had some positive moments. Let's not act like he's been a bust or anything like that. It's just a work in progress, and that is the process for young players. But Muncy looks like he got his confidence back at the plate. Ghost Cat 69. That's a fact. We got Munchie homers all the time, and we're living for it. We got Let's Forget Trey Slamson Dookies. That's from Hit That Like Button for D-Mac. Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Appreciate you, man. Blessed to see Goat Kobe. Blessed to see Goat Kershaw. And blessed to hear Chick Hearn and Scully. JKid323. Yeah, when you put it like that, I mean, we're really blessed as LA sports fans to be exposed to all this greatness here, broadcasting and just witnessing these athletes night in and night out. We got, hey, D-Mac, can you and Clint do Vince Scully's famous words before a Dodger game someday? DK, that'd be pretty awesome. I would love to do that. But yeah, back into this game. We got fired rotisserie chicken. We got almost every team coming out of the NL got hot near the end. Washington Braves, Phillies, they all started slow and played well at the end of the season. I think we could be headed that way. John Palmer, yeah, there is something to that. I mean, there's something to be the hottest team in the game and just finding that in the postseason, finding lightning in a bottle. And I think, too, that layoff didn't help anyone. But Dougie Fresh, Bellinger batting 302. That's from Michael Negretti over on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, you got to tip your cap to Cody Bellinger. I mean, the Dodgers really ignited a fire because heading into that season, into that series, he really was struggling. But you saw he robbed Jason Hayward. He had the big double the first night. He get the home run and almost hit another one on earlier against Andre Jackson, which was a cookie that he just missed, and then he had that 4-hit game against Oakland. So yeah, I'm happy for Bellinger. We'll see if he can sustain it, but yeah, we got Will Miguel Vargas win a Gold Glove. I mean, I think it's possible. I mean, I think what he's considering the fact that he has never played a inning at second base to start his career, the fact that he's already showing this kind of promise and these kind of instincts, yeah, I think it's possible. But he's a guy that he wants to focus in on what he can do at the plate. I remember asking Miguel Vargas in spring training in 2022, what is your favorite position to play? And he said the batter's box. So he's a guy that likes to hit. But win for Dodgers, Chloe. Between Scherzer and Syndergaard, who is going to give the most runs? Let's just say Scherzer for the sake of this show. Nice. Where to? All right, let's jump back into this game. So bottom of the third inning, JD Martinez, 19th multi-home run of the game. He hits another bomb. Max Muncy draws his second walk of the game. How about that pitch clock violation there by Miguel? Hayward singled up the middle. And then Muncy ends up at third. Pham booted it. Hayward ends up at second, and base hit and 2 errors. Not a bad throw, not a good play by McNeil to try to catch it on a one-hop. Muncy was going to stop until Pham kind of kicked it there. So they weren't able to score. They weren't able to score, though. I mean, the Dodgers really had an opportunity to kind of pour some more runs on this game in that inning, kind of make this one a laugher, but they just weren't able to continue that inning. I mean, the defense was pretty sloppy for the Mets there, but Vargas, he flies out to left there with runners on second and third. So they get 1 run on 2 hits there in the third inning. And then a lot of missed opportunities. Bottom of the fourth, Peralta flied to center for the first out. Rojas drew a 4-pitch walk with 1 out. And then James Outman, he gets a broken bat single to center to keep things going. And then runners on the corners, 2 outs. Freddie Freeman at the plate. Freddie lines one to center, gave it a ride, but right into the glove there for the third out. So Dodgers, runners on the corners, 2 outs. Freddie line to center. So had some opportunities. Then bottom of the 5th inning, Martinez reached on an infield single. 2-0 count to Muncy. He singled to right. Then Dodgers on first and second with no outs. Hayward flies to center for the first out. Then Vargas, he drew a 5-pitch walk to load the bases. Then Peralta struck out swinging for the second out. And bases loaded. Luke Williams, I was praying for this guy. I was like, let's have your moment, my man. He ends up flying out to end that inning. So Dodgers had a big opportunity, bases loaded there, couldn't scratch any more runs. Then bottom of the 7th, Martinez struck out looking for the first out, then back-to-back walks for the Dodgers. 0-2. Then 0-2 for Miguel Vargas. He strikes out on 3 pitches, a nasty sweeper there by Brigham, and then Peralta struck out swinging on that sweeper for the third out. So didn't love the strikeouts for the Dodgers tonight in some of these key situations. I mean, they scored 5 runs, they allowed no runs, but still, I mean, this is a game where they theoretically could put 7 or 8 runs across. I mean, they end up on the night just having opportunities that they just weren't able to capitalize on. They left 10 runners on base. They go 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Outman, he comes through with runners in scoring position, but Vargas 0 for 2, Hayward 0 for 1, Freeman 0 for 1, and Peralta 0 for 2. And like we said at the top of the show, 0 for 13 from the bottom of this order. Vargas, Peralta, Rojas, Luke Williams, and Austin Barnes combined. So really, J.D. Martinez, he carried the game. If you look at the box score, Hayward goes 1 for 3, Muncy goes 1 for 1 with 3 walks, J.D. Martinez 4 for 5 with 2 bombs and 1 strikeout, Freddie Freeman 1 for 4, and then Outman 2 for 5, did have 3 strikeouts. So, yeah, the strikeouts, he's been able to keep that number under 30%, which is what you want to see. It's around 27, 28% now. So you want to keep that manageable for him. So, yeah, that was kind of the big key. And really, yeah, we talked about Austin Barnes and that walk that led to a stolen base in the 8th that ended up giving the Dodgers an extra run there. And, yeah, the only thing I didn't like really was the bottom of the lineup not producing. Didn't do much with runners in scoring position, but really Clayton Kershaw. We talked about the 7th. I mean, after that first inning was really cruising. I mean, top of the 2nd, gets canned to ground to short for the first out. Just another 1-2-3 inning. Top of the 3rd, Escobar flied to right. Nito flied to right. Nemo flied to left there. 3 outs. 1-2-3 inning on 8 pitches there in the 3rd. Top of the 4th, he strikes out Marte for his 4th punchy. He had retired 10 straight at that point. And then Lindor gets a 1-out infield single. So you're talking about singles, all singles, not a lot of hard contact. Then Alonso flies right for the 2nd out. Canna grounded to the pitcher for the 3rd out. Great play there by Kershaw. He had retired 10 straight before that single to Lindor. Then another 1-2-3 in the 5th. And then, yeah, man, Clayton Kershaw was cruising tonight. Just a virtuoso masterclass by one of the greatest pitchers to ever toe the slab in Clayton Kershaw, and he was great. I mean, you saw it came out there for the 6th. He gets Nito strikes. He strikes out Nito swinging there with a slider on the inside corner. Gets Nemo to line to left and gets Marte to ground down. And then we already broke down that 7th inning there. Just fantastic. But let's jump back to the comments section, guys. I want all your thoughts on Mookie playing short. Let's tip some water here. Get some comments tonight.
You win.
Yeah, John Palmer, exactly. I mean, that's kind of the point I was trying to make. If you look at Vargas, BABIP at 250. Shows at least 40 to 50 still to come on his average, and then you consider those predictive stats, the expected batting average, expected slug. He is going to turn around. I'm very confident in that. Kershaw, 200 wins. Lard Dog, yeah, we broke that all down. Clayton Kershaw, 200 wins of all the pitchers that have amassed 200 wins. Clayton Kershaw right up there with some of the greats. And yeah, I mean, I feel it's pretty amazing that he's been able to accomplish this and the longevity and the fact that he's reinvented himself throughout his career. I think that's been spectacular. He's now the 117th pitcher in Major League Baseball history to reach that 200 win plateau. So congratulations. He is a certified GOAT. Nothing's going to change that. I just asked for one more World Series title, and let me get greedy and get a World Series MVP somehow, some way, and that can make up for what happened there in 2017. But let's get your hot takes. Give me your hottest Dodger take right now, and we're going to get out of here pretty soon. But thanks for rocking with us, guys, here after the Dodgers get the big win. What do you think about Mookie, the shortstop, David Sabatal? It's intriguing. What did my man Plato say back a billion years ago? He said, necessity is the mother of invention. And if Chris Taylor's injured, Luke Williams is a guy who's played 4 games at shortstop at the big league level in 2 years in the show. We saw him play shortstop. We saw him play third. He was raking down in AAA at 1151 OPS. But yeah, I think if Mookie can handle it and if he's open to it, I think the injury risk is there, but the injury risk has always been there. I mean, last year he broke his rib running into Cody Bellinger in center field. He ran into Jason Hayward, hurt his ankle. I mean, injuries happen all over the field, but yeah, there's a lot of wear and tear at that position. That definitely is something that crosses my mind, but we'll see. DMAC double ratings of the other show. Ray Barrio. Oh, yeah, my bad. I had another show, but the audio didn't work, so we redid this stream, but thanks for rocking with us, my man. JD Martinez won the game 3-0. Absolutely. BC, JD, 4 RBI. DMAC, crush. Thanks, David. Well, thanks, my man. Appreciate you guys. You guys are crushing the comments. Like I always say, it's your show. I'm just hosting it. So give me those hot takes. Would you guys really like the idea? Because, look, here's another thing, too, is, look, I do it is, if you look at this team, they were getting before tonight a 143 batting average from the shortstop position. That is by far the weakest when it comes to offensive production of any of the positions on the field for the Dodgers. And yeah, Tim Anderson is, of course, some guy that we've talked about. I feel like everyone in the Dodger world is trying to mention Tim Anderson now. You guys know we've been talking about that since last summer. Willie Adames, we talked about that since last summer when we were on the show talking about Trey Turner probably signing to the Phillies. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. But you have to realize that is such a premium position, and especially now more than ever when defense in a glove-first shortstop is definitely has its pros, but Willie Adames and Tim Anderson, they can produce at the place. I mean, Willie Adames is having another great year, and the Brewers, they're clearly going to try to go for it, and they still are not going to be sellers. And at this point in the season, you just don't see that many trades, and especially, too, when you consider the fact that you have the expanded postseason, the 3 wildcard teams. Teams are going to hold out until the very end to see if they are going to be sellers. So the point I'm trying to make is that with a very difficult schedule coming up, the Dodgers, lots of tough road games. You got the Braves, you got the Padres, the Rays. I mean, you got the balanced schedule. You're playing everyone 13 games. There's not going to be an elite hitting shortstop walking through that door anytime soon. So Mookie, it definitely makes some sense if he can hold it down, and it's a tough ask to ask a guy who's never played shortstop at the big league level to not only play that now, but do it in a season where you don't have the shift. But I think if there's one guy that you could trust that could figure it out, I think it'd be Mookie Betts. But here we go. No Mookie at short. We need his arm in the outfield. Knuckles 777. Yeah, look, I mean, I've also said in the past that one of the reasons why he has 6 Gold Gloves is he's got that outfield assist arm. He has a rocket throwing frozen ropes, so that definitely is something you want to consider too. And also, look, I mean, he's a guy that's padding that Hall of Fame resume as a right fielder. It sounds like you're changing his brand, but I'm telling you, let's say he goes to shortstop, he plays great there, and he produces offensively. He really hasn't gotten going. His numbers aren't terrible. Still 23, 24% above league average. He hasn't gone on a tear like we've seen and do in the past. If he does that, I mean, I think he would garner some MVP consideration. But I want to get to this super chat, my man. Appreciate you commenting on that super chat. Daniel Vaquiz. Let me know if I'm pronouncing it right. I'm probably butchering it, but When are we getting D-Mac bobblehead at Dodger Stadium? I don't know about Dodger Stadium, man. That would be a lot would have to happen. I mean, a lot would have to happen for that, man. Maybe I can make my own bobblehead and bring it to Dodger Stadium and just give it to you as a one-on-one, a one-of-one, and maybe we could do that and we'll work something out. How does that sound? Appreciate you, though. TA7 will save the Dodgers. Trace Hayward season 2022. One thing I love about you, Mr. Trace Hayward, is you always find these guys that you get on, and I can tell you're obsessed about these guys. They're running through your mind 24/7, and I can tell you're doing everything you can to LeVar Ball, to manifest TA7, Tim Anderson on the Dodgers. So I appreciate your hustle there. And look, I think he's a guy that, if you want to move Mookie down the lineup, Tim Anderson's a guy that hits leadoff. He does bring that bat-to-ball dynamic. Of course, he has been known to be the BABIP merchant. We were talking about BABIP earlier with Vargas. He's a guy 399 BABIP, but still continues to produce. Is banged up, but we'll see, because I think that their owner in Chicago is a little delusional as far as how he evaluates and assesses his own team and what he has. But hopefully Kersh hits 3K. I hope he does, Pros. I mean, what more can this guy really look to accomplish? I mean, you're talking about a guy in Clayton Kershaw where, hey, the way he's going, that's another reason why I just don't think it is the last year for Clayton Kershaw. I mean, you're talking about a guy, 2,833 strikeouts, 167 strikeouts away. So Clayton Kershaw is definitely within the realm of possibility. For me, it's just about avoiding major injury at this point, because if you look at even last season, 2.28 ERA. Last year, look at his expected ERA, expected FIP. That was his best years numbers-wise since pretty much 2017, 6 years. And really, if you look at pitchers that had pitched with a minimum of 126 innings, he's right there in the top 5 to 10. So, yeah, I mean, as long as he's healthy, he can go out there and produce. Last year in 126 and a thirds innings, he had 137 strikeouts. So, yeah, I mean, I don't see him doing it this season, but if he comes back, has another good year, next year could be definitely the year where he eclipses that 3,000 strikeout plateau. But here we go. Lux is another 300 hitter badly missed from BC. I be stroking. Get ready for a parade if the Madres snap their losing streak. That's a fire take.
Fire take.
Who's your favorite Dodger player? Empry. I got to go with... yeah, I mean, this guy, sometimes I just fall for players. I have to admit, I'm going Austin Wins. Austin Wins, man. First of all, he was already on board with the Peralta freight train, gets a double RBI. So give me Austin Wins. Who's your guys' favorite Dodger? How about that? We'll end the show on this one. Thanks for rocking with us here on the Dodgers Nation post-game show. Kersh gets his 200th career win. D-Mac crush. Yeah, thanks, David. Man, I really appreciate that. That bobblehead would be epic. Craig Osterberg. How about a Craig Osterberg bobblehead? I would like that, too. This reset isn't going well as Friedman thought. There's always some of those guys who bait me into a conversation that I would love to have, Friedman, Hank, and yeah, I'll give you my thoughts on that just briefly. I think there might be something to what you're saying, and I think Friedman has banked on some of this player development, some of these reclamation projects that they've hit on, and by the way, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Brusdar Graterol's night, because, yeah, it's a perfect example. I mean, he's looking for the Brusdar Graterols to turn things around. Guys that basically fell into their lap in the Mookie Betts trade. Alex Vesia, I think, needs a few weeks down at AAA like he's had in previous seasons to kind of get right. Victor Gonzalez has talked to some guys down there. He has pitched very well. He's in great shape. But, yeah, Brusdar Graterol, give him a lot of credit tonight, too. Last couple games, you're seeing him get more comfortable using that slider. Brusdar Graterol tonight, he ends up, and the soft contact's always there. How about Evan Phillips, too? Evan Phillips went in there, and he pitched well. He gave up one hit. But still, I mean, you're seeing less strikeout from him, but he's still getting it going. Then, yeah, I mean, I think the bottom of the ninth, 1-2-3 from Brusdar Graterol. You got Marte struck him out swinging, a nice slider there, bottom of the zone. Lindor. Next, he got Marte's sinker right there, but we're just pounding that sinker in the zone. And then he got Lindor there with that slider, and then he got Alonso to fly it right on the first pitch, using that four-seam fastball up in the zone. So you can see what they're doing with Brusdar Graterol. A little more four-seam fastball, challenging hitters up in the zone, and then you'll get that soft contact with the two-seamer and get that swing and miss to keep hitters on bounce with that slider. So I'm not selling my Brusdar Graterol stock, but to get back to your question about Freeman, in this rebuild. I still think that the first part of the season was always going to be about assessing what they have. They assumed they were going to have Gavin Lux. They don't have that. So, look, the reality is that when you're operating from a position of pretty much no leverage after a key player goes down and you're at the beginning of the season, you're going to have to part ways with a lot of prospect capital to get an impact player this early in the year. And Andrew Friedman is not the guy that's going to sell off his players, trade off his players for pennies on the dollar. He's going to want to get at the very least, a fair trade. So he's going to allow this market to develop. And then two, I think there's always going to be their eyes on the Ohtani basket too. So the Ohtani golden goose. So I still think it's still too early. We'll see. But as far as the talent up and down this roster, there are some glaring needs. And I think the bullpen, like I've said, they kind of treat this bullpen like it's leftovers. They don't treat it like it's this big meal where they're trying to create an entree, a 5-star dish or anything like that, and they try to get by with Dr. Pryor and this pitching lab. But, yeah, I still think it's too early to tell because we'll find out how aggressive this team's going to be because I think if this team shows potential and guys like Dustin May, who needs to pitch better, miss more bats, and guys like Tony Gonsolin pitch well, and Kersh and Syndergaard continues to pitch solid, and Julio, if they think they have a World Series winning team, I expect this team to be aggressive and try to address their needs at the deadline. I'd be shocked if Andrew Friedman would be content in having Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts at the peak of their powers in their prime, having won just one postseason game, because right now, that's how many postseason games Mookie and Freddie have won. So what's the point of signing Freddie and Mookie if you're not going to go for it? So those are just my thoughts on that. But some final thoughts on tonight. Clayton Kershaw, tip of the cap. Shout out to our sponsor, Hornitos. Hornitos, the best tequila in the game. Proud sponsor of the Dodgers Nation post-game show. And they're the best tequila in the game. We got some gifts that my guy Cody Lou has cooked up. You're not going to want to miss those. We got some new gifts. If you like this one,
Fire take.
You like that one? You're going to like the ones coming up. Pedro Guerrero is your first favorite Dodger from Raider Rank. It's good to see Padres fans so emotional about the Dodgers. It's like an ex-girlfriend that wants the, okay, EB, it's a family show, man. That's a bruh.
Bruh.
That's a bruh. You're getting a double bruh.
Bruh.
If the Dodgers sign Ohtani, will the Dodgers keep Kershaw? Showtime Dodgers fan. I think he's not the one you should be concerned about. It'd be Julio Urias who you'd be concerned about in that sense because you're talking about possibly spending $700+ million in an offseason to get Ohtani and Julio Urias. I think Kershaw, he's going year to year. And I don't think you see him signing a contract for more than $20 million at this point. You're probably going to see $15 million with the $5 million in the signing bonus or incentives. And I think that's where he's at. But, yep, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of the Dodgers Nation post-game show. Really appreciate you guys rocking with us here. After the Dodgers get the dub, they get back on track. They win by a final score of 5-5, get back to 500 at 9-9. They're actually 2 games back of the Arizona Diamondbacks in the NL West. We got a couple more here, give me some walk-off shots here. Any help the bullpen can get. Bullpen ERA is still one of the worst in the majors. BC, yeah, they're right in the middle of the pack. Bruzdar working on that breaking ball. What up, Dog and Kim? Yeah, and that's pivotal to his success. Trace Hayward season, all Bruzdar needs is to use that slider. Congratulations, Kersh. You pitched a gem, win for Vin. My favorite Dodgers is Toll. I be stroking. Yeah, go watch the video I did. I get pretty much the whole story of Andrew Tolles. Thanks for the best post-game show every time. Thanks, appreciate you, David. But thanks, guys. Rock with us. D-Mac never sleeps. That's a fact. LFG D-Mac, 82 wins might get us the division. BC, wouldn't that be kind of fun? But thanks, guys. As always, I can stay and chat Dodger baseball all night, but I got to eat a carne asada burrito. But thanks, guys. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at DMAC_LA. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Also, it's important to get those notifications on so you know anytime we're going live or we're dropping a new video. Tell your friends about the channel. Would really appreciate that. Remember, nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.